Hello and welcome to this week's edition of World of Business, your weekly guide to trending business news and latest developments on the stock market. We also get to cast a spotlight on thriving but unsung entrepreneurs on this show. The name is Bruce Chimbunde, and let's get straight into it. The Zimbabwe construction industry is experiencing a boom in 2025, driven by both technological advancements and increased government and private sector collaboration. The goal of constructing 1 million housing units by the end of the year is certainly within reach, with modern construction techniques and equipment reducing construction time as well as costs. Today, we'll unpack this in detail with Dr. Tinashe Manzungu, the president of the Zimbabwe Building Contractors Association, as well as managing director for ZimBuild. But first, we give you the exchange rates as of today. The Zimbabwe gold to the US dollar interbank rate was at 26.98 ZiG. The Zimbabwe gold to the Great Britain pound interbank rate was at 36.48 ZiG. The Zimbabwe gold to the euro interbank rate was at 30.73 ZiG. The Zimbabwe gold to the South African rand interbank rate was at 0.66 ZiG. And lastly, the Zimbabwe gold to the Botswana pula interbank rate was at 2.00 ZiG. We also give you commodity prices on the global market. Commodity prices as of today were: gold per ounce traded at $3,390 after it went down by 0.26 percentage points. Silver per ounce traded at $34.72 after it went up by 0.19 percentage points. Copper per pound traded at $490 after it went up by 0.28 percentage points. Platinum per ounce traded at $1,100 after it went up by 0.62 percentage points. That's it for this first segment. World of Business takes a short break, and we'll be right back with our discussion. Welcome back to the second segment of World of Business. As alluded to earlier, the Zimbabwean construction industry is experiencing a boom in 2025, driven by both technological advancements and increased government and private sector collaboration. The goal of constructing 1 million housing units by the end of the year is certainly within reach, with modern construction techniques and equipment reducing construction time as well as cost. Today, we are going to discuss the progress to date with Dr. Tinashe Manzungu, who is the president of the Zimbabwe Building Contractors Association, as well as MD, managing director for ZimBuild. Dr. Manzungu, good day and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
We certainly appreciate you taking time out of your very busy schedule, Doc. We understand that you're a busy man, but we thought it prudent that we should discuss these matters, particularly on the backdrop of the launch, or rather commissioning, of the Trabablas interchange. I think these are it makes the time right for us to be talking about issues to do with construction. So let's get straight into it, shall we? The local construction sector is angling at handling about $100 million US dollars worth of projects by the second quarter of 2025, building on the current momentum. Where are we in terms of that?
Yeah, we are still on track in terms of implementation and in terms of also disbursements of such funds.
All right.
But of course, you would see that what we talk about when we mean 100 million, we are talking of the money that is coming directly from the fiscus as well, as well as public-private partnerships that are also in motion between our government and also the private sector. So that culmination results in the ability of our nation in making sure that that 100 million is quite well reached. I think we can actually speak well when we talk of infrastructure projects that are mega in instance. We talk of the Trabablas interchange, we talk of dams that are being created, we are talking of also the roads. I think you are very much aware of the Victoria Falls Bulawayo Highway. That is also starting just now. And when we speak of that project alone is a massive project.
And
it speaks to not less than $500,000 per kilometer.
Yes.
You see now. So what it speaks to is that capacity to start that project is already something that boosts the level of getting to 100 million. And not forgetting also other projects that are now getting to their completion stages. And government would really want to see these projects
and
coming
others that
to
have been completed. You talk about the Mandamawa Road.
Yes, Mandamawa Road. We're talking also of other projects that are also happening within the lines of Zimbabwe, not only the issue of government lines, but also private projects. Because we're talking of the construction sector getting or moving to the tune of 100 million within the second quarter. So it's both government and private. Yeah, of course, at the moment we have this construction boom, and government has taken a lead, while the private sector is also now probably following through. And I tell you, it's something massive that speaks to confidence within the private sector.
And we're also seeing, quite a number of residential areas. Talk of your cluster houses, sprouting, across Harare and other places.
Exactly. And not only that, but you also speak to commercial and industrial centers.
Oh, yes.
You see,
and malls as well.
Yeah, malls.
Yeah.
You talk of your government departmental or ministerial head offices.
Yes.
They are being constructed right now at the moment.
Yeah.
And that speaks also to the issue to...
And I have to say, it's lovely to be seeing cranes, in and around, the Harare CBD.
Remember, we have this project that we also looking forward to completion this year, if not early next year, the Afro-Exim Bank. It speaks also to massive infrastructure development. Yeah. So such projects speak to the ability of 100 million being actually something that can be surpassed in the event that we continue having the stability in terms of our currency at the moment. You see now, the moment we continue in this zone, I think we're able to speak very positive come probably end of second quarter or beginning of the third quarter. Yeah.
There's increasing demand with regards to housing, the need for housing and other infrastructure in urban areas. What role is the public as well as the private sector playing in investment in residential and commercial projects?
Yeah, so you see the in thing right now, of course, we have government that moves in to speak of what is required, the housing units that are required.
Yes.
Right. So you see the 1.25 million housing units that are expected
to be built.
To be built by the Ministry of Housing. They speak to that end, but at the same time, we are saying it is a mandate that they don't speak to it alone. They are also including the private sector. And what it speaks to is the ability of government to continue opening up more projects. I think you would see that it's not only the public sector that is doing this, but the private sector has moved in through the issues to talk of rates. You see, people are now beginning to see that with the real estate investment trust, you can actually do more.
A penny for your thoughts, Doc. Do you feel that we have the capacity and this can be achieved?
We really have the capacity. In fact, we have ever had that capacity. But now what is now happening in the country is the issue to talk of confidence, as well as the stability in terms of our currency at the moment. It is allowing that to happen. So you can actually even invest your own Zimbabwean currency into real estate. So not only that, but also individual people are getting into this. And recently, I think you have seen that government has actually moved a very big step through the Ministry of Local Government to have these youth housing schemes all over the provinces. It's a very big step in terms of providing for accommodation. And you would see that all these programs are looking forward to just swallowing the 1.2 million housing units that are expected.
We can agree that
notwithstanding the good job that is being done by the Minister of Housing in its own projects.
As Zimbabwe pursues its mantra of engagement and re-engagement to attract more investors, how can the construction sector in the SADC region leverage public-private partnerships to accelerate infrastructure development?
Yeah, you would remember that as ZBCA, we last year held an inaugural summit where we invited all the 16 member countries in the region, in Victoria Falls, here in Zimbabwe. And that also came with the backdrop of our country being the chair of SADC. And that actually was quite well received.
What were the key talking points in that summit?
We are mainly talking of the SADC infrastructure roadmap. We are talking of the roadmap looking into issues to do with planning and also investments.
All right.
So as SADC as well, we actually have probably a mark to say within the first year of engagement. We also have a mark to say at least let's see $100 million investment in Zimbabwe alone.
Yes.
You see, this is a pledge that we are putting in as private sector to say how do we make it work.
Right.
And that is something that we are saying someone in Zambia, an investor in Zambia or South Africa can actually move in Zimbabwe and find it free and easy to invest through ZIDA.
Right.
And now we have then further engaged ZIDA as an association in trying to say how do we come together, how do we make the contractor, how do we make that person with the finance, how do we also make that a person who has got the land right come together, how do we make or teach transactions to be workable. Because the problem that we have been having as a country is to say, yes, while we have ZIDA, while we have the investor who is probably willing to come in with foreign direct investment, but that person is not able to come and transact with a contractor in the country. So we have made it easy by engaging ZIDA to this whole agreement, where ZIDA has actually moved in to say there is a committee that has the construction association, there is the investor who is coming in, there are the planners, and things are now easy to navigate, and that results in increased developmental movements in the infrastructure or housing
above and beyond the obvious impact in terms of increased housing. How can the construction sector also be leveraged to create jobs, stimulate related industries, and as well as foster economic development?
Yeah, indeed, whenever there is construction, remember that construction is the backbone director of each and every country. No investor comes to a country where there is no infrastructure. Because even if an investor wants to come and place a mine in rural Zimbabwe,
and there's no road,
but there's no road, there's no power, there's no water system, dams or irrigation facilities, then it's a no. So in terms of how we can harness more investment, besides investments, issues to do with employment, for example, we're looking at issues that speak to the downstream and upstream industry of construction. We are talking of the manufacturers that do manufacture construction projects, construction material. We are talking of the traders that also bring in that which we at the moment in Zimbabwe are not able to produce. We are talking of the import issues. We are also talking of the export issues, export of material to other regional or international countries. And these are opportunities where we are saying, as Zimbabwe, now we can manufacture our own, for example, IBR sheets. Because now we have started by importing IBR making machines from China, right? And we now have Zimbabweans who are now molding these IBR sheets. And most of these buildings, both private and government, are utilizing these materials that are being done by the Zimbabwean person.
Locally.
We used to have one or two companies that do brick molding in the country. Massive
now
brick
they've had a
molding.
number of companies.
Now we have plenty of companies.
That's I'm talking about public-private partnerships. There's also the collaboration which Dinson is doing with CESA, which they're coming in to also provide power. So I think it's also a gap that
indeed
if the private sector can also come and fill in in terms of assisting the government. Perhaps you also spoke about how you resolved at the summit that other players within the region can also come in and do projects here in Zimbabwe. What role then can regional cooperation play in overcoming funding gaps for large-scale construction projects?
Indeed, it speaks to partnerships. I'll take an example of what we have in Zimbabwe, the Multiplier Investment Fund. That is actually leveraging on assets within the companies that are forming the Multiplier Investment Fund to invite investment in the country. So that is one big thing where we are saying these are big companies that we still have in the country and that we are all probably looking at as semi-blue chip companies, right? That we leverage on their assets in bringing the capital. But now my point is not there. My point is on establishing something like that for the region to attract investment within the region. Now, we are saying the region of Southern Africa is a growing region where we are estimating that by 2050, it is the region to go to within Africa. Of course, Africa will be the go-to continent in the world because of its population that is growing, because of its resources that remain untapped, not because we cannot tap it, but because of the resources that are really
resource constraints.
Constraints. So by 2050, we are actually speaking to dryness within these other continents in terms of resources. And as you see, Africa is actually growing and maturing to be an independent continent. That speaks to the use of its own resources. That also speaks to issues to do with equity in terms of investments. Gone are the days when resources will be moved by rail or by sea to European or probably American countries that time.
So how can we you talk about that? It's good that you talk about that. How can we continue to innovate so that we enhance efficiency and sustainability in the construction sector across the region?
Within the region, it speaks also to improve the efficiency in terms of our own universities. We start from education. Do we have the requisite staff to teach our students? Do we have the requisite resources that they require to learn? So it speaks to education. It also speaks to a capacity in terms of using our own local resources to generate our own local equipment that we use within the region. And the moment we go that way, it means we are self-sufficient as a region, as Africa as well.
Dr. Manzungu, allow me to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come and have this discussion with us. I greatly appreciate that. I was speaking there to Dr. Tinashe Manzungu, who is the president of the Zimbabwe Building Contractors Association, as well as managing director for ZimBuild. On that note, World of Business takes a short break, and we'll be right back. Welcome to the final segment of World of Business, where we get to cast a spotlight on our entrepreneur of the week. This week, our field reporter, Stella Marere, spoke to Mr. Mazai Luane, a local entrepreneur majoring in smart farming. Let's get more from that interview.
Thank you so much, Bruce. We are out here linking with our field entrepreneur of the week. And on this particular week, we are joined by Mr. Lamik Mazaiwana, one of the local entrepreneurs majoring in smart farming. And as you know, the Zimbabwean government is working tirelessly to promote smart farming in order to boost agricultural productivity and ensure food security. This also works in line with the rural industrialization agenda. Against this background, Mr. Mazaiwana is going to walk us through his journey as an entrepreneur in Zimbabwe, also telling us more about the adaptation and the adoption of smart farming techniques in Zimbabwe. Stay tuned for this exciting segment. Mr. Mazaiwana, thank you so much for joining us. So to kickstart the conversation, can you walk us through the various initiatives and projects that you're involved in?
Thank you so much. Here we are involved in poultry production, the distribution of poultry products, and the equipment that are supporting the mantra that we are going on, which is the smart farming techniques, where we are using layer cages like the one that is behind us. We are also introducing brooder boxes like that one. We also have incubators, we also have plucking machines, we also have slaughtering corns. So in a nutshell, we are trying to say no, we are diverting from our conventional way of doing agriculture in poultry into these smart farming techniques.
Okay, so you mentioned briefly some of the techniques that you're using. Maybe walk us through each and every one of them and the advantages that are associated with farmers out there implementing these techniques. What really are the advantages? What gap are they addressing?
We have a lot of advantages that we can take from these systems that we are using. For example, when you are using an automated layer cage like this one, we are saying we are diverting from a conventional way where we use deep litter system, whereby our beds will be scattered all over on the ground. But now we are coming to say no, with this introduction of cages, you can use cages. They have many advantages, some of them being you use less space. This introduction of cages, we are going to use less space. Also, we are going to have an advantage of feed calculation. We also have to an advantage of the drinking system, which will be all fitted on one cage. And it also reduces labor. For example, you can just put your feed into your water and then you go and do other things. Then in the evening, you come and pick your eggs. They will be here like you are seeing here. You just pick your eggs. We also have incubators, where we are saying you can't let a hen lay on the eggs for 21 days, but you just take the eggs and put them in an incubator. In 21 days, you get your chicks. And the bird will not stop laying. It will lay continuous, especially now that we have exotic birds that we are bringing. Those ones, they don't lay on eggs. So with incubators, now you have more chicks within a short period of time, and it also increases production. Then we also have what we call brooder boxes, whereby before we leave our hen to roam around with the chicks. But now with these brooder boxes, we say when the chicks are out, you take the chicks, you put them in a brooder box where there are controlled temperatures, and everything there will be controlled, which also reduces mortality on the birds. It also reduces time. It also, biosecurity. When you talk of biosecurity, the spread of diseases, it also limits those spread of diseases.
Okay, so I think you can agree with me there that this is also supporting the rural industrialization agenda that our government is trying to put forward, where we are trying to transform the rural communities into the modern day communities. So how accessible are these techniques for the farmers that are out there in the rural areas, and are they user friendly? Is it easy for someone to just use or adopt these smart farming techniques? Maybe they need schooling.
It's very easy. It's very easy. With this, with what the president has just said, to say, leaving no one and no place behind, we are also trying to incorporate the rural community into these activities. And poultry production is one of the most practiced activities in the rural areas. So it also helps in rural development. Doing poultry in the rural, taking these systems in rural areas. Like now, with these climate changes that we're experiencing, you can power all these machines using off-grid. You can power them using solar. You can power an incubator that is run completely on solar 24 hours and still get the results. You can also power these small machines like the plucker machines using solar. So it has also helped the rural community. We've also created employment and also revenue for the rural community when they sell. With poultry, when they sell their products like the eggs, the chickens for meat and everything, they also get something from this.
Okay, so now zeroing in on smart farming is a component of agriculture and the various methods that our government is trying to come up with to support farmers. Why is it important? What role does it play in national development, buttressing rural industrialization, ensuring food security, and also increasing agricultural production as a whole? What role does smart farming play in ensuring all of this?
Smart farming, it enhances productivity in many ways. When we are doing this, we also incorporate other industries and other producers into this. For example, the feed companies, they are also incorporated. Those in engineering, they are also incorporated when we are making these cages. So in a whole, we are incorporating many societies, which is also giving them an income. And also, we are also saying, after everything is done, we also bring a revenue to the government. When we export, we also get foreign currency after exporting some of our products. We are exporting incubators into Zambia, into Botswana. We are also exporting these cages as far as DRC, that's the SADC region. So it's really helping. At the moment, we can't complain. We are very happy and we are excited.
Okay, so looking at Zimbabwe as a nation and you as an entrepreneur in smart farming techniques, how far have we gone as a nation in terms of adopting smart farming techniques, and where are we still lacking? What can be done?
Of course, it's not yet where we think it should be, because we also have some limitations here and there as small businesses, as small enterprises. Sometimes we are unable to access loans. As a small entrepreneur, those who offers loans, they talk of collateral, but as a small enterprise, you might not have something that maybe a title deed for a house. So it's one of the challenges that we are facing of financing. But with the little that we are having, we are trying our best. People are now understanding what it means, because what has been lacking was the information to say, what is smart farming techniques? What are the advantages? Why do I need to venture into smart farming techniques? But now, like the world over, everything is improving. We are going digital. We are trying to advise them and make them understand what it means. But the support that we are getting, it's something else.
What do you think needs to be done by our policymakers or the Zimbabwean government in as far as fostering the spirit of entrepreneurship and creating a conducive environment for entrepreneurs in Zimbabwe is concerned?
The environment for entrepreneurs is okay in Zimbabwe. The environment is okay. But what we just want is the support and backup from the government. Loans that have a reasonable interest, whereby we can be able to access them. The requirements for the loans should also support small entrepreneurs, which is like us. Because if you look at us, most of our clients, they are small-scale farmers. But they will be having the information and everything in the market, but they lack that. So if there is an initiative to give us loans at reasonable interest rates, no, we will be very happy.
Your words of motivation to aspiring entrepreneurs out there, and also your words of motivation to other entrepreneurs that are venturing into smart farming.
This is the best time. There is no other time like this one. This is the best time where the government is supporting us fully. And as we work towards the NDS1, this is the best time.
A very educational and inspirational conversation we've had today with Mr. Lamek Mazaiwana, a local entrepreneur majoring in smart farming techniques, and he has made it clear that now is the best time for Zimbabweans to adopt smart farming techniques. And this also buttresses the government's mantra to say leaving no one and no place behind, and continuously emphasize on the need for Zimbabweans to develop and build their own nation. And that brings an end to this week's segment of our Entrepreneur of the Week. Be sure to join us again on our next segment. It's back to you, Bruce.
That's it for this edition of World of Business. Until next week.